Hello and welcome to this session about connecting SAP Business One with AppGyver. So in AppGyver, if we log in, we can easily create a new project. Let's call it test project. So when we are in AppGyver, to connect to the SAP Business One service layer can be done easily. So first of all, we will go here to data and add a data resource and select the OData Integration. In here, we select the basic authentication. As a username, we select a combination of the Business One username and the Business One database and the password of the Business One user. And in the end, we enter here the base API URL, which is the service layer address. Please keep in mind that HTTPS is required and also CORS need to be enabled, as well as you need to have a signed certificate. There are options with non-signed certificates, self-signed certificates, but they need to manually trust the self-signed certificate on the device, which is not recommended and cumbersome. So to enable the CORS, we can then also select this address and go to the service layer controller. The service layer controller is a service in the SLD. And if we scroll down here to the bottom part, service layer configuration, you need to check the CORS enable. You need to add a comma and authorization to the allowed headers. And you need to put in here an asterisk in the allowed origins. When you have made these three modifications, you need to restart the service layer. So back in the AppGyver, so we will now verify the URL. And now all the various service layer objects have been populated, and we can then select the ones interesting to our project, the item properties, and for this demo we will focus here just on the items. And when we select the object from the list, we can then remove the authentication again, and we need to provide a request header for authorization. So we click here and add a value called authorization, and we need to enter here the authorization key. So there are many ways to get it. An easy way is to use a page like this one, where you just paste the username and the password, but there's no connection details in here. It's really the keys generated out of username and passwords only. There are also other ways to retrieve this using the F12 key on your keyboard and then connecting to the service layer manually and read the HTTP header from there. And also in Postman, you can retrieve the header. So we click here to generate the header information and just paste it in here and save the data resources. All right. So if we now go back here to the first page and save firstly, we can now go ahead with the design of the mobile app. So we need first to define a variable. So we do this here under data variables and then add data variable and select the only object we enabled, the items, and save this. Now we go back to the view mode and remove the sample text here and add a list item and also a scroll view. You can then move the list item into the scroll view. To continue, we will then need here to click on the list item and then go to the repeat with and select here data and variables and then here data variable and then select here items and save it. Now we have the primary and secondary label. So we start with the bigger font here with the primary label and select the data item in the repeat and select here, for example, the item name and save it. And then in the next label, secondary label, we will choose here the item code and save again. So we can then also name this inventory. And if you click on launch and preview this, so we can then see here our inventory and the items with the item code. So let's go back here and let's define a new page called details. Okay. And the headline will be on stock. And here we want to display the amount which is in stock. So to get this done, we firstly need to go back to the variables mode and add the page parameter and click add parameter. We call this item code parameter and we will now save this. And we need data variable again, and we will add the items. Please note that now we need to select here on the right single data record, and we also need to now define that the item code will be filled by the item code parameter. And we will save this. So if we now go back here, we have now the main page. And if you click here to show the logic for details and change to view mode, we want now that if you click here, that you will jump to the details page. So we will just drag in open page and connect these two and click again on the open page, and the details is already selected as the only page available, and the item code parameter needs now to be defined to be filled with the data item from the repeat, and this is the item code. One more thing, let's save again, is when you are on the other page, we also want to jump back to the earlier page, and therefore we need to first put in a small row container on the top of the page and now put there a small icon in the upper left, for example, and we can choose here as the icon type a back arrow, and in the text field now we can then also select as a content data and variables another field from the items list. For example, let me choose the quantity quantity on stock and save this. And one final thing we need to do, if you click here back on the icon, of course, we need to add a function to it. So we will put here the navigate back feature. And now we're good to go. So let's launch it and preview it. So if we now look here at the printer paper A4 white, we have 22,950 on stock. If I select the next item, we have 36,168 on stock and so on. So you can now really play with it. One more thing I would like to show you is how to add additional fields which are more complex to retrieve. Okay, so let's go back here and go back in the details page. So if you, for example, want to get the item price, the barcode, the warehouse ID, these are more hard to retrieve from the service layer. You cannot use the typical data variable fields here in the AppGyver selection. So barcode will work probably, but the other ones like the price is hidden within the item prices list of objects, so you cannot access it easy. And therefore, let's show you another way how to do it. So we will add here quickly a container row and text here on the left. We call this price. And on the right side, we will then also have a text with the price. And here we will not choose the data and variable as before. We will choose another option called formula. And from here, we can easily just type price. And then you can see here, we can find now the item prices list with all the objects beneath. And we can then see here the price of the item prices. And we just will select with a double click this one. And we can add another one, just another row here, add another property, like for example, the barcode. And on the right side, we will then put in again the text field. And we will here choose again a formula. And we will use the barcode. And then you can see here different options. And we will choose here directly the barcode from here. Save. Okay, so let's save this again. And let's run this one last time. And if I now select, for example, here the printer paper, I can see now also the price is $5 and this is the barcode. Of course, you can then also add the currency, and you can also use here the same table view. So you put here stock and here the stock amount, and here as a title details and so on. So you can easily play with AppGyver to make a nice details page. This concludes the demo. Thank you.